जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। श्री कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। देव विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुपाद अशोक सिद्ध भक्ति वेदांत प्रभुपाद संतराज Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to Sri Devotee. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtapraye Svabhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 24. And whoever is screen sharing, they can just leave their phone. I'll be pulling up some reference verses class. So 4:9:24. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagye pushkala dakshinehi. Yagne pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Ante mam samsmarishyasi. Ante mam samsmarishyasi. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagye pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Ante mam smarishyasi. Please repeat. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagne pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Yante mam samsmarishyasi. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagne pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Ante mam samsmarishyasi. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagne pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Ante mam samsmarishyasi. Ishtva mam yagya hridayam. Yagne pushkala dakshinehi. Bhuktva cheha shisha satya. Ante mam samsmarishyasi. Ladies present, so we have one. That one? On behalf of the lady? I hear a lady back there. Ishtva. After worshipping, Mam, me, Yagya Hridayam, the heart of all. Pending distribution of great charities. Bhuktva, after enjoying. Cha, also. Iha, within this world. Ashisha, blessings. Satyaha, true. Ante, at the end. Mam, me, samsmarishyasi, you will be able to remember. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. Please repeat after me. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life. And at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. Purport. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instructions regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smritihi. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by many things, but Dhruva Maharaj's life would be so pure as assured by the Lord himself that Dhruva would never forget him. Thus, at the time of death, he would remember the Supreme Lord, and before his death, he would enjoy this material world, not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices. As stated in the Vedas, when one performs great sacrifices, he must give charity not only to the Brahmanas, but also to the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It is assured here that Dhruva Maharaj would be able to perform such activities. In this age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is the performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Our Krishna conscious movement is designed to teach people and to learn ourselves the exact instruction of the personality of Godhead. In this way, we shall continuously perform the Sankirtan Yajna and continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Then at the end of our lives, we shall certainly be able to remember Krishna, and our program of life will be successful. In this age, distribution of prasad has replaced distribution of money. No one has sufficient money to distribute. But if we distribute Krishna prasad as far as possible, this is more valuable than the distribution of money. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam dadati swapadantikam vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Param Ananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to today's Śrimad Bhāgavatam class. I would like to seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and all the senior Vaishnavas assembled. May the right words come in the right time, in the right spirit, and for the pleasure of our previous acharyas and all the devotees of the Lord. In the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says a nice verse, Tad dinam durdinam manye mega chanam na durdinam yad dinam Krishna samlapa kata piyusha varjitam. He says, a cloudy day is not auspicious. Tad dinam durdinam manye. The day of mega chanam, and if you know another name of Krishna, Megha Sham. So mega chanam the durdinam. A cloudy day, it's not so inauspicious. But yad dinam Krishna samlapa Krishna Piyusha Varjitam. That day that we don't hear about Krishna, that day is considered very inauspicious. So we are actually fortunate to be in the temple and to be hearing in the association of other Vaishnavas the most important pastime of the Dhruva Charitra. What we can learn from from Dhruva. So, as such nicely put in Srila Prabhupada's purport, for Kali Yuga jivas, there's no better food than this Sankirtan Yagya, this unoffensive chanting. And this chanting goes on without duplicity, it is serious, and it is with great faith. And actually, he has said here actually that this is the greatest charity. And even anything even remotely connected with Narayan, connected with Krishna, we see that this is actually the greatest charity. So much so that the distribution of prasad is more valuable than money. Now, if I give you $10 but I give you a plate of khichdi, and you'll say, which one would you want? Maybe I should choose a different prasad. But this is how powerful the potency of prasad is, because it has the ability to break the cycle of samsara. Anshu, what's that verse we say about Uchishta? Remember that Prasadam prayer we say in ISV? After the regular ones? Prasad, after that one? Tvayo pabhukta shaganda, vaso lankari charchita, uchishta bhojino dasas, tam maya jayamehi. That these things actually can release you from the clutches of Maya. How does it start again? Tvayo pabhukta shaganda. Yeah. This is a very nice verse to memorize. Tvayo pabhukta shaganda. Vaso lankara charchita. Anybody find the reference? It's in the 11th canto. Anyway, it's somewhere in the 11th canto. But you can even just by the sounds of it, you can hear. Payopa bhukta shrag gandha, smell. Shrag gandha, vaso alankar, whatever the cloths of the Lord. If you ever receive a Mahaprasad cloth, what's the verse? 11:6:46. Is somebody pulling it? Screen's not working. It's okay. You guys have to use your phones today. I won't judge you. I won't think you're texting during class. So simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, you see the Mahaprasad garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed. This is, I believe this is Uddhava talking to Krishna. And by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. So this is how great the prasadam is. Actually, the $10, as we'll discuss later in the class, that may actually bind us more to the material energy. But just by taking the remnants of the Lord, actually we have, because the remnants of the Lord are non-different from Krishna himself. So the cloth, because it is Balaram, right? It is used to glorify, just like the mridanga. The mridanga is used for the glorification of Krishna, so it is non-different from Krishna. So this microphone, we should take care of all these things very carefully, because they're used in the seva of Hari seva. So actually they become spiritualized. So that means we should take care of anything that is used in Krishna's service very, very carefully. I just remember the example of His Holiness Radha Maharaj, and I'm just thinking of the microphone, so Radha Maharaj. Radha Maharaj took so much care in making sure that there's proper audio system. There's so much care in audio system. One time there was one Vyas Puja, I think at Radha Gopinath temple or something, and the audio system was a complete mess, the wires. And Radha Maharaj just took everything that he got from his Vyas Puja Dakshina and just gave it to them, and says that every wire should be colored, the audio system should be clear, because that's how important the Shravanam process is. So, all glories to the audio department here of Natava Gauranga Prabhu and Shama Sindhu for giving it. It's working well enough, I think. Everybody can hear? No? Okay, it's okay. I hope someone can hear. But this culminates combination of this whatever shastric study or whatever temple seva we do should lead to the unoffensive chanting of the Lord. If not, this knowledge is incomplete. It is incomplete knowledge. And we see what actually Prabhupada is speaking about in this purport of that he's describing three different things in this purport. That I am the heart of all sacrifices, and you will be able to perform many great sacrifices and then give charity. And then by doing sacrifices and by giving charity from those sacrifices, you will be able to remember me at the time of death. Now, this is something very, many people have this question, like, oh, do I want material life or do I want Krishna? And material life and Krishna don't really go well together. But we can see this is an example. This is a exception. If you do it like this, material life can go very well together with spiritual life. And I like to bring another reference of if you guys can pull up on your phones, it is Canto 3, Chapter 2, text 33 and 34. We'll be looking at those. Now this is in reference to Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu is married to who? Huh? Chaturupa. So Swayambhuva Manu is married to Chaturupa, and it's speaking about how he enjoyed his material kingdom, but he was able to live a very Krishna conscious life. So let's read, and this is in regards to the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Good. So text 33. Emperor Swayambhuva Manu enjoyed life with his wife and subjects and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by unwanted principles contrary to the process of religion. And then it speaks about celestial musicians. And it speaks about in purport of 33 how Swayambhuva Manu enjoyed his household life, but it was still able to remember Krishna. It is said early in the morning there were musicians who used to sing with musical instruments about the glories of the Lord, and then the emperor with his family personally used to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. And Prabhupada speaks about the Shanai. Everybody know what the Shanai is? Yeah. It's like a my parents actually don't like the Shanai because when the president of India passed away, for the whole maybe 7 days on all the TV channels, it was just Shanai music. And then so my parents always associate Shanai music with death. So they used to wake up with Shanais, and the sleeping members of the house gradually get up from their beds in a pleasing atmosphere. During bedtime also, the singers sing songs in relationship with the pastimes of the Lord, with Shanai accompaniment, and the householders gradually fall asleep, remembering the glories of the Lord. And Prabhupada, in this purport and the next purport, 33 and 34, Prabhupada speaks about how actually the Grihastha can enjoy life. And the only way the Grihastha can enjoy life is to center it around Krishna. There's really no other way. Prabhupada speaks about how in the morning they wake up to Shanai music and to very peaceful sounds, and they attend the Mangal Arati of the Lord. And the palace of Jaipur, I got the opportunity to go to Jaipur. And it's this last year. And Jaipur, me and Gopinath were at Jaipur actually. And I got the chance to go to the Mangal Arati in Jaipur. And basically everybody's sprinting to get a good view of the Lord. And Prabhupada says that if you didn't attend Mangal Arati in Jaipur, back when the kings were still in power, you would get fined 1,000 rupees. So if you don't go to it's much better than Sachinandan Priya's little tick that he makes. But he gets, you get fined 1,000 rupees, and that's how you start the day. That's how you get the day started. That's how the day starts, with the most enjoyment. Now text 34. Anybody have it pulled up, text 34? Can someone read it in 34 in a big loud voice? Anyway, Lokik has a big loud voice. Get the microphone.
He was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in a Krishna conscious atmosphere.
So enjoying material happiness in a Krishna conscious atmosphere sound like axiomatic, like very, very different things. But Swayambhuva Manu did it. So also we can see the example of Ramananda Roy. When he used to take his bath in the mornings, he would be accompanied by hundreds of people to come take bath with him, because to accompany his time to the bath, they would be singing songs, they would be glorifying Krishna, they'd be doing so many things like rituals and Ganga Jal and all these things. And we can see in the example of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, that Gadadhar Pandit and Mahaprabhu went and meet him, and someone told, this is a very advanced devotee. He had oiled hair. He was sitting on a very luscious seat. And then by just invocation, and Gadadhar Pandit says, this seems like a very big materialist. And then, I think it was Mukunda. Mukunda says this verse, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigham sayapaya yadapya sadvi lebhe gatim datri uchitam tatonyam kamba dayalum sharanam brajema. This is from Canto 3, chapter 2, I think verse 23. This verse speaks about how merciful is Krishna in relation to Putana. So once Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard this verse, he goes into ecstatic trance. Even though he had materially all opulence, he was still able to get this remembrance of Krishna just by invocation of one verse. I don't see anybody crying or rolling on the ground when I said that verse. But eventually we want to get there. But these are all exceptions to a very general rule. The material happiness that most people enjoy is like the camel's joy. Anybody know the camel's joy? It's not like an almond joy. The camel's joy is basically, the camel is very hungry, and he says, oh, let me go eat this cactus, because that's what's there in the desert. And he goes, eats the cactus, and basically the thorns of the cactus pierce the tongue of the camel. And basically it's like, oh, what is this great rasa that I'm tasting? Oh no, it is the camel's blood that it is ingesting. So this enjoyment of the material world is more pain and suffering, but branded as enjoyment. But the material world is, Maya has such a amazing way that it gives us the pain, material world gives us the pain, and it also offers us the seeming cure to this pain. But we have to understand that categorically, the cure cannot be offered by the same person who caused the pain. If I had the screen, I could show, I had a little YouTube clip I wanted to show you guys of like this clip in a movie, the scene that really, that shows how maybe I'll just forward it to the group chat. But I'd like to share a story of how this material world is telling us the problem and the pain. I heard the story from Keshav Maharaj. There was one time a boatman in the Bahamas, and he was just sitting on a little, this thing, a hammock. Everybody know what a hammock is? He was just relaxing on a hammock, and he takes one boat between the islands, and he just goes back and forth, and that's how he makes his money. Then this person comes and says, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm relaxing. I'm just chilling in the Bahamas." And then he says, "Oh, if you have two boats, you can double your profits." And then the boatman says, "Wow, if I double my profits, then what will I do?" "Oh," he said, "then you can hire somebody to do these boats. You can hire an employee to do these boat things for you. You don't have to do it. Then what will I do?" "Oh, then you can get a bigger boat, and you can have more people come onto your boat, and you can make more profits for less cost." It's an economic solution. Then what I'll do? Then you can make a big a LLC or a corporation, and you can be the prime person to take people from this island to that island. "Oh, then what will I do?" "Oh, then you can use those profits to buy a house to take care of your wife and kids and your dog and all that." "Oh, then what do I do?" Then you can, after you do this for some time, you can get older. You get older and you want to retire. "Oh, then what do I do?" "Oh, then you can retire to the Bahamas and sleep on a hammock." And then the boatman said, "I'm already doing that now." I'm already doing that without doing all these extra steps. So the material world has this way of offering us a more and more higher degrees of enjoyment, not necessarily with showing us to solve any of the real problems. So what the most important aspect of this purport is the first 3 lines of the purport. And I'll just read them again. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instruction regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smriti. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by so many things, but Dhruva Maharaj's life would be so pure, as assured by the Lord himself, that Dhruva Maharaj would never forget him. So, of course, we have so many duties to perform in this material world. But in the course, we should do them, but we should do them enough to maintain our remembrance of Lord Narayan. So, but the only issue is, do not expand your material activities so much that you cannot remember Krishna. This is the main problem. Like, for example, we have this example of food. Food is to be taken only to perform devotional service. Now, eating should not be so magnified that devotional service is forgotten. Same thing with money. Money is needed to perform, to do anything in this world. But don't collect so much money. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangas chalolyamsha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. It destroys devotional service. What destroys devotional service? Atyahara, too much over collection. So use enough money to perform your service and to maintain yourself in this world, but don't get bewildered like this. Same thing with sex life. Sex life is not against, but in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kamosmi Bharatarshava. He says, I am that sex life that is not contrary to religious principles. But the thing is that if sex life becomes the center of our lives, and we have our whole life around this sex life, then actually we're not practicing the Grihastha ashram, we are practicing the Grihamedi. And it's not even a Grihamedi ashram because there's no shelter. There's no shelter in that ashram. And we see so many examples of people trying to lavishly try to ostentatious shows of wealth. That I was hearing a class by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, and Radheshyam Prabhu said he got an invitation to a marriage where in the marriage invitation, the card, was enclosed a gold coin worth 20,000 rupees. And so these things are actually, it just shows prestige. This was very similar to what was happening in Navadvip. Do you know what was happening in Navadvip when before Mahaprabhu came? In Navadvip, actually people were getting they would use all their money to get their children married. And when they didn't have any children left, you know what they would do? They would get trees married. And after the trees get married, you know what they ran out of trees? They would get cats married to each other. They would have, actually if you go to there's the Bagh Bazaar temple, the Gaudiya Math, and you go, there's the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Museum, and they built a very nice museum actually, very beautiful. And they have the original printing press of Bhaktisiddhanta and all these things. If you go to Calcutta, me and Anshu always go every year, and it's so nice. And they have this great painting you remember this painting? When you're going up the stairs, and there's this painting of the place of Navadvip, and basically there's these two cats on this palanquin, because the bridegroom, you're supposed to carry them on a palanquin. And so there's two cats, and they have in Bengal, when they get married, they wear huge little crowns. And so it shows that there were even cat marriages happening. And this is how people were showing how much wealth they had. And who came and stopped all of this? Who came and stopped all this? Mahaprabhu, but who called? Advaita Acharya. He says, Mahaprabhu, he says, Krishna, I need you to come and stop this. I can't stop. Nahi paya bala harinam sankirtane. I have no strength to stop this by myself. And he says, I think Advaita Acharya was 50-something years old when Mahaprabhu was born. So he says, I'm an old man now. I have no strength. Krishna, you have to come. So there's innumerable things that take us away from Krishna. But Queen Kunti mentions 4 things specifically that take us away from Krishna. Anybody remember that verse? Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamana Mada Puman Naivarati Abhidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gochara. So 4 things can take us away that take us away from Krishna, or makes it very hard to call out with Krishna. I'll be specific to Kunti Maharani's prayers. To approach you with sincere feeling, 4 people find it very hard. Janma, Aishvarya, Shruta, Sribhi. So by Janma, I was born in Brahminical birth. I was born in Indian family. I was born in a devotee family. I was born like I was just hearing His Grace Aindra Prabhu. He was saying something to the Guru Kulis, the people who grew up in the movement. He said, "Yeah, you guys are like," because Prabhupada said that anybody who's born in our movement is like a demigod. Within 3 generations, they were able to spark fire just by mantra. And Aindra Prabhu just said, "Yeah, you did good. You were born in a devotee family, but you messed up along the way somehow. You were so close that you almost went back to Godhead, but you messed up somehow, and then so you were born in a devotee family, just so you can finish off. But don't forget to finish off what you came here to start. That you came here to finish off. So you can be proud of birth, janma, aishwarya, opulence. There's a way that money can also delude me. I have so much money, I don't need anything. What is that verse from the Gita about money? 16th chapter. So much money I've collected now. Say it again. My schemes, yeah. This world is unreal, insatiable lust. This one. Idam adya maya lagdam imam prapse manoratam idam astidam apivete bhavishyati punardhanam. That bhavishyati punardhanam. I will collect more. Aso maya hata shatru hanishye chaparanpi. Ishvaro aham. I am Ishwar. Aham bhogi. I am the enjoyer. Siddhoham. I'm perfect. Balavan. I'm strong. Sukhi. I'm happy. Adyo bijanamanasmi konyosi sadrisho maya. Yakshe dashyami modisha iti agyana vimohita. He has no intelligence, no jnana. Vimohita. He is bewildered by Aishwarya, by opulence. Shruta, education. Of the 4 types of people who don't surrender to Krishna, which one is talking about education? Which one of the 4 people? Maya Parata Jnanis. They're like the scientists, or even among devotional service. I can get so much puffed up by my knowledge. Am I able to quote this? Am I able to quote that? Am I able to do this? Or that I can do this and you can. That I forget the whole point of devotional service, which is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishtuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. You cannot do Kirtaniya Sadahari without Trinadapi Sunichena. You can't chant the holy name of Krishna constantly unless you're humble like the blade of grass, as tolerant as a tree. So, by education we can be puffed up. And then Sribhi, beauty. There's some beautiful people in this audience. But you guys aren't puffed up. You guys are nice people. And for me, no chance. That you can, by beauty you can be puffed up. Oh, my face is so handsome. My eyebrows are like this. My hair is like this. I'm fine now. But actually Krishna has a way to humble everybody by these things. Well, if you're puffed up by beauty, what will Krishna do? Get old. If I'm proud by birth, what will happen? I'll die. If I'm proud of my opulence, what will happen? I'll become poor. Very good looking. If I'm proud of my education, how will Krishna humble me? Apply the education. And I found that if you think you're smart, I always find that Krishna sends you somebody who's smarter than you. But we can see by but who can approach Krishna with sincerity? Tvam akinchana gochara, who believe that I have nothing. I am materially What is the word that Prabhupada uses? Exhausted. Have you ever been exhausted? And so people who are like, man, this material life, I'm exhausted. When you're materially exhausted and you've taken all of your investments and your stakes out of the material world, then you can approach Krishna with real feeling. But, now this is a big but, Dhruva was most rich. Dhruva gained an opulence that nobody had, right? He gained a kingdom greater than who? Brahma. So great. So we have many tests in this world, but we have to see there are mainly two tests according to this purport. While living, every activity, we should only do it for Krishna. This is while living, and then we have two things, while living and while leaving, So while living, we do everything for Krishna. Dharma swanusita pumsam vishwaksena katasu yad notpadayad yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. That anything that is not done for dharma swanusita pumsam, whatever your dharmic ashram, varna ashram, vishwaksena katasu yad, it doesn't give you rati, attachment to the to Vishwaksena, to Krishna. Notpayed yadi ratim shrama eva hikelam, just useless labor. Now, in regards to this, I was hearing another verse that you can really understand this connection. This, just for people who are keeping score, this is 3:23:56. 3:23. Neha yat karma dharmaya na vairagya kalpate na tirtha pada sevaye jivan api mrito hisa. So basically this verse is saying, anybody want to read this verse? Lokik, you want to read this verse? Anshu, you want to read this verse on the mic? In translation?
Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to religious life, anyone whose religious, ritualistic performances do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing.
When I was reading this verse this morning, I was just hearing another class in reference, that I was just like, I audibly gasped, this is such a great verse. So basically what this verse is explaining, you do your karma, your work. But your karma should lead to dharma. It should lead to religious acts. And with your dharma, it should lead to vairagya, renunciation. And that vairagya should lead to tirtha pada sevyai, which means to do service to the lotus feet of the Lord. So when you do your acts, like let's say somebody who's working in a factory and they're working, that should eventually lead to dharma. That I'm working all my life. There should be a goal to life other than just work and family and death. And so let me look into dharma. Then now I'm going to dharma. I am chanting, I'm associating with my sadhu sangha, I'm doing seva, I'm doing kirtan, I'm doing this. That should lead to vairagya, which is renunciation of the material world. This is that tvam kinchana gochara. You're not intoxicated with janma ishwarya shuta shribir. And then that leads to tirtha pada sevyai. And this is Kapila Muni's, is Kapila Muni who's speaking? This Kapila Muni. He's saying that if this doesn't happen, if it doesn't lead to tirtha pada sevyai, you are like a dead body even though you're breathing. So we see so many examples of people coming, like on the Sunday feast. You see so many different types of people coming to the Sunday feast. And then they come, they say, I've been coming to this temple, Radha Govinda temple, 25 years. And what is your prayer for 25 years? Me and Gopinath were speaking about this, about being kind of, what was the word we were using about in the train? We were discussing about casual in our bhakti. Yeah, being casual with our bhakti. that we come to the temple for 25 years and we're only praying for our business. We're only praying for our business. We have not even had a iota of small amount of detachment. Then actually Radha Govinda isn't the Supreme Personality of Godhead for you. He's your business partner. He's just meant to help you in your business. And like for example, if babies wear diapers, right? And we say, oh, babies wear diapers. But at 25 years old, you're still wearing diapers. That's not so much appreciated. Not so much, right? So how much longer will we be just on the path of just work until Dharma comes, until Vairagya comes, until Tirtha Pada Sevya comes? And like I was hearing a class by Radha Shampru, he says he asked somebody, 25 years I have been coming to ISKCON. I've been an ISKCON life member. And then Radha Shampru asked him, what have you been doing in ISKCON for 25 years? He said, oh, I've been going to Govinda's for 25 years. I've been going to the Govinda's restaurant. Exclusively, I've been going to Govinda's. So, initially, remembrance comes when we come to temple, but as you're engaged in devotional service every day, remembrance of Krishna will come naturally. It will come naturally. Just by, that's why this morning program is so important, because and it's such a important part of the day for everybody, both brahmacharis and grihasthas. Maybe grihasthas do some like a limited part of the morning program, but for a devotee, the morning program is the core of spiritual life. Your japa, because that's your time to remember Krishna exclusively before the day starts. So, and if we just we remember Radha Govinda right when we wake up, we remember Tulsi, we remember Nrsingadev, we remember the spiritual master. All these things, it's supposed to invoke something in us that throughout the day, let me remember Krishna. So, but also, just last point here, wealth should not be considered an enemy for devotional service. Like we have example that we have in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have the example of the milk drinking brahmachari. That Mahaprabhu was doing his Sankirtan, and this Shivas Thakur brings the milk drinking brahmachari. He only drinks milk, nothing else. And basically Mahaprabhu stops the Kirtan. Is there somebody here who's not supposed to be here? And then all the Mahaprabhu's associates thought that I'm not supposed to be here. I'm the one. But then Mahaprabhu picked out this milk drinking brahmachari. That you think Vairagya, this only drinking milk, will lead to Krishna. And many people think the externals don't lead to Krishna. That doesn't give bhakti in the heart. Bhakti doesn't arise from just doing the externals. Like if like someone told me, if shaving your head was the only thing that took you that took you to Krishna, then all the sheep would go to Krishna because they get shaved. If only drinking milk takes you to Krishna, all the calves would go to Krishna. But so giving wealth to Krishna, actually this is also another important point. Giving wealth to Krishna is not for him. Krishna is Chintamani prakara sadno sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu shurabhi paripalayantam lakshmi sahasratasa sambrama sevyamanam govindam adipurusham samahajami. Who is serving Krishna? Lakshmi Sahasra. Thousands of Lakshmis. And Lakshmi is the god of wealth. Does he need your $108 or $11 or $10? He doesn't need any of that. Krishna doesn't need any of that. You're doing it for your purification. Your purification of your wealth. This is why we're giving Krishna. And as this verse is speaking about, the more we sacrifice for Krishna, the more charity we give to Krishna, actually that's the only way to enjoy material life. Other than that, material life is a complete camel's enjoyment. So sacrifice and charity lead to remembrance of Krishna, and the goal of life is ante Narayana Smriti, to remember Narayan or Krishna at the time of death. Antakale chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nas atra samshaya. What, and we say remembrance, like, oh, it's just like I do my life and then I just remember Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Then it'll happen. No, Krishna says, antakale chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam. What is the bhav you have developed for Krishna? What is the feeling you have developed for Krishna? If you still, after 10, 15 years of chanting, you still do not have any feeling for Krishna, what feeling do you have? So this is the main point, is by sacrifice, by charity, and ultimately to develop bhav and to develop loving feeling for Krishna, that will give us Ante Narayana Smriti. Thank you very much for tolerating me. My apologies if I said anything against our Siddhanta. And please, now is the time for questions, corrections, comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for the class. I loved the diaper analogy you gave about 2-year-old and 25 years old. My question was, you said we have to keep growing, we have to keep improving in bhakti. But how do we know that we are not growing? How do we know that we have become very comfortable and stagnant in our devotional service and we are not making any improvement?
There's a reference in the 11th canto. Arjunananda Prabhu can help me in this. What's the reference of bhakti? When you do bhakti, all material, you grow distaste for material things. You guys remember this reference? Paresh anubhavo na virakti. So if we just how do you know if you're if you're being stagnant or this and that? See how much taste you have for the material world. Is your taste growing, or is your taste is decreasing? If your taste is increasing in the material world, we can see, yes, our bhakti is not going well. And you can see that very much so in our morning chanting. In our morning chanting, why is chanting so powerful? Because it is the closest thing to pure devotional service, even in the conditioned state. When I cook a nice feast, everybody comes and glorifies. Wow, those burgers were nice. That pasta was nice. That rice dal was nice. When I lead a nice kirtan, wow, Prabhu is so ecstatic. When I chant nice japa, none of you are glorifying me. None of you even know. I could be meditating on breakfast, or I could be meditating on the holy name. None of you even know what I'm thinking about, right? Japa is that important. Japa puts a mirror. Cheto darpana marjanam. It shows us exactly who we are. And based on that, we can see, are we having more attachment for the holy name and Krishna conscious activities, or are we having more attachment for material activities? And sometimes your mind will try to, this could be dovetailed in Krishna maybe 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 20. In Columbus, we had this one guy. He said, if I sell my business for $10 million, I will give the temple $1 million. So it was kind of like, okay, it's great. You want to do this nice thing for Krishna, but why don't you start serving Krishna now? You know, So that's my basic response. Bhakti paresh anubhavo virakti. That by the performance of bhakti, naturally you get virakti from the material world. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna. So I just had one comment and one question. The comment is that in the purport Srila Prabhupada is saying, how is it possible that Dhruva Maharaj is enjoying both material enjoyment and at the same time, at the time of death, he is going back to Godhead? It is because the material enjoyment is granted by Krishna. Therefore, so similarly, you get so many examples in Bhāgavatam. Kardama, he wanted to get married. He approached Vishnu and Vishnu arranged Devahuti. So Devahuti did not become an obstacle for Kardama's spiritual progress. Similarly, when Priyavrata wanted to remain a brahmachari, Brahma came and he said, we have to populate the universe, and that's the Lord's order. So under Brahma's instruction, Priyavrata got married and he had to expand, and it is mentioned in Bhāgavatam that he got completely involved in material life. But at the time of death, again remembrance came and he retired.
Priyavrata, right?
Priyavrata.
Yeah.
So therefore we find this, that when...
He didn't even want it.
Yeah, he didn't even want it.
He had to
Therefore,
be
if someone
forced
wants to enjoy materially, better to approach Guru and Krishna.
Yeah.
And whatever Guru and Krishna give to enjoy materially, whatever facility they can provide, one has to be satisfied.
Yeah.
But if one goes for material enjoyment outside what Guru Krishna gives, then that material enjoyment can pull the living entity down into more greed, more lust, and of course frustration. So that never satisfies. So in connection to that, one question comes is, how can a devotee who is always conscious of Krishna's enjoyment even enjoy materially? And what does it mean? How can a devotee enjoy materially? That is my question.
If you see the engagement of matter in the engagement of spirit, like for example, this microphone, you can enjoy the acoustics of this microphone, but you can actually ultimately enjoy that this is meant for Krishna. Like for example, how a devotee enjoys, I'm so happy that Krishna's getting such a nice offering, right? Like when we see the TOBP temple, so nice that Krishna's, there's millions of dollars being poured into the TOBP. And it's so nice that we get to use that in Krishna's service. So the same way that the devotee who works, like Prabhupada, he speaks about in the 18th chapter of the Gita, like Prabhupada speaks kind of harshly towards factory workers, right? He always says factory workers or like this. But in the 18th chapter, he speaks about the workers in the factory, and I don't have the... A man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory, nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. And when he gives up the result for Krishna, he is acting transcendentally. So that's the way to spiritualize. And you could further elaborate, Rupa Goswami says 50% for this, 25% for this. And that way, even somebody who's working, who is seemingly materially engrossed, they can even spiritualize their wealth. And there's no difference between somebody who's working, like many of you work in offices and this and that. There's seemingly externally no difference between what you're doing and what your coworkers are doing. But because you're using it for Krishna, the goal is different. The prayojan is different. The prayojan for the material world is to just enjoy your senses as much as we can. The prayojan for a devotee who's working in a factory, working in an office, is to give pleasure to the senses of Krishna. That, what's it, lust and love? Atmendriya priti vancha tare bolikam, Krishna indriya priti tar prem nam. That this is the role of devotee. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it does. Basically, I was thinking like for a devotee, because he uses whatever he has to serve Krishna ultimately, so he doesn't really enjoy materially.
I mean, but this is on the pure devotional level. You have to understand that there's also mixed devotees. Like like Kapil Muni speaks about that there's is it Aropa Siddha Bhakti? It's like dovetailing a devotional service. Like for example, that some people just say, I want to give anything to you, Krishna. Everything is yours. Like if I'm building a temple, whatever you need, Krishna, I'll give. Some people says, I only want to give plastic chairs. Okay, plastic chairs are good, but we need bricks, we need cement, we need this. So that's all. They also get benefit. So of course, on the pure devotional level, that whatever you want, Krishna, I'll give it to you. But on the mixed devotional platform.
So I was talking about pure devotees because it is referencing pure devotees in the
Yeah.
text. So for pure devotees, there is no question of material enjoyment. Though it is said, Lord Vishnu is telling Dhruva that you enjoy materially all these facilities, and at the time of death, you come back to me.
Yeah,
So actually, the whole life is spiritual enjoyment.
yeah.
So not
It's-
there's nothing
Everything's
called as material
sacrificed for it.
enjoyment.
Yeah. It's kind of like the end result is like Dhruva Maharaj. It seems like he's doing like so many material things after he gets his king. Like he's killing all these yakshas. He's doing all these things. That's another very interesting thing that we'll discuss. That why is Dhruva Maharaj killing all these yakshas? If he's supposed to be a pure devotee, why is he doing all these things? So that maybe the next Bhagavatam speakers can speak about that very complex topic. But yeah, if the goal is pure devotional service, whatever you do, like we have so many examples. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was so maturely like engrossed, like he was working a job, so many court cases. He had a train come to his house in Navadvip that would take him directly to Puri. But that, because it was all in the realm of devotional service, then actually his whole life was an offering to Krishna. So I agree with that. Anything else? I think we're over time. Grantaraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.